The vice president did not wait for a committee. 10 minutes ago, 10 minutes, JD Vance used executive power and suspended Judge Caldwell right away. No hearings, no warnings, no appeals. He was gone. And here's what the news is not showing you right now. The list is not just names. It is not just a leaked paper floating around Washington. It shows recorded planning with times and proof showing that the Witness 14 case was not justice. It was a planned attack. But that is not even the scariest part. Wait until you see who else is on that list, because Judge Caldwell, he is not at the top, he is not at the bottom. He is somewhere in the middle of something much bigger, and it is just broken wide open. So what pushed JD Vance to act so fast? One moment, one leak, one line that Judge Caldwell should never have crossed. The list hit the internet at 9:47 a.m. Eastern. By 9:52 a.m., Vance was on the phone. By 10:04 a.m., Judge Caldwell was suspended from the bench. 17 minutes. That is all it took to end a federal judge's career. But here's the thing. This was not a sudden reaction. This was not politics. This was years of planning finally catching up to a man who thought he could not be touched. And I am going to show you exactly how it all fell apart. The documents everyone is talking about, the moment Vance made the call, the look on Caldwell's face when he realized it was over. It is all coming. But first, you need to understand what this judge did to deserve it, because the media is going to spin this as an attack on the courts. They are going to shout about a constitutional crisis. They do not want you to see what is actually on the list. I do. And when you see it, when you really understand what Witness 14 went through because of this man, you will understand why Vance did not wait. Here is what really happened. The moment that broke the internet this morning, the leak first appeared on an encrypted channel. Within minutes, it was everywhere. Screenshots filled Twitter. PDFs were downloaded faster than servers could handle. By the time mainstream media even knew what was happening, millions of people had already seen it. The list. 14 pages, single-spaced, names, dates, messages, and something nobody expected, recorded phone calls. Not summaries, not written notes, real recordings. And right there on page 7 was Judge Harold Caldwell's name linked to a call from March 2023, a call about Witness 14. For those who do not know, Witness 14 was a protected source in a federal corruption case, someone who came forward with proof against powerful people, someone who trusted the system to keep them safe. Judge Caldwell was chosen to oversee the protection order. Here is what the list showed. 3 days before Witness 14's identity was accidentally made public in court papers, Judge Caldwell got a phone call. The recording is 11 minutes and 47 seconds long. In that call, someone, whose voice is still being studied, asked Caldwell directly, "Can you make sure the filing goes through unsealed?" His answer, "These things happen. Clerical errors. Nobody tracks them. Nobody tracks them." A federal judge talking about exposing a protected witness like it meant nothing. But here is where it gets worse. 2 weeks after that clerical error, Witness 14's home address appeared on a website known for doxing. 3 weeks after that, Witness 14 vanished. They found him 4 months later. I am not going to describe what happened to him. I cannot, not here. But I will tell you this. What happened to Witness 14 was not random. It was not an accident. It happened because someone decided his life mattered less than protecting the people he was going to testify against. And Judge Caldwell, he signed the order that allowed it to happen. That is what the list proves. That is why JD Vance acted in 17 minutes. But wait, because here is what nobody expected. Caldwell is not the only judge on that list. He is not even the highest-ranked name. There are 3 other federal judges listed. 2 still working, 1 retired. There are 7 lawyers, including 2 who work for major news networks as legal experts. And there is 1 name that is blacked out completely. But the file data shows that black mark was added after the document was first made. Someone removed a name before the leak. Someone with access to the original file knew this was coming and protected someone. Who? That is the question driving Washington crazy right now. JD Vance talked about it in his statement. He said, and I quote, "The investigation into the redacted parts is ongoing. When we know, the American people will know. That is a promise or a threat, depending on who you are." And here is the big reveal. The proof this was not just Caldwell acting alone. The phone calls show planning. Not one person making a bad choice. A group, many calls, many people. Talks about timing, cover stories, and what to do if they were caught. They planned this. They thought they might get caught. They just never thought the list would leak. Someone inside that group leaked it. Someone decided the public needed to see it. And that person is still out there, still unknown, still holding whatever else has not been released. This is not over. This is just the first drop. If you are watching this thinking, Finally, someone is talking about what is really on the list. Hit subscribe right now, because what I reveal next, the media is trying to hide, and I will not let them. But not everyone agrees this is justice. Legal experts are calling this a constitutional crisis. And honestly, when you hear their side, you see why some people are scared. The American Bar Association released a statement within an hour of Caldwell's suspension. They called it, quote, an unprecedented attack on judicial independence that threatens the foundation of our legal system. A law professor from Georgetown said it this way: no matter what Judge Caldwell did or did not do, the vice president does not have the power to suspend a federal judge alone. This is not accountability. It is executive power going too far. Social media is blowing up with posts from the other side, people saying Caldwell has not been found guilty of anything, he has not even been charged, that the list, whatever it says, has not been officially confirmed. One defense lawyer wrote something now going viral. Today, it is a judge you dislike. Tomorrow, it is a judge who ruled against the administration. Next week, it is any judge who will not obey. That is not America. That is authoritarian rule with good marketing. And here is the hard truth. There is a legal way to remove federal judges: impeachment. It requires the House to charge them and the Senate to convict them. It is slow on purpose to stop exactly what happened today. The Constitution exists for moments like this. One former federal prosecutor wrote, not to protect the guilty, but to make sure we do not become what we are fighting. So who is right? Is JD Vance really protecting witnesses and stopping corruption? Or did he show what happens when executive power ignores the rules? Is the list real proof of a planned crime, or an excuse to remove judges who do not agree with the government? That is the question tearing the country apart right now. And the deeper you look, the messier it gets. But this did not come from nowhere. Months before the list leaked, warning signs about Judge Caldwell were everywhere, if you knew where to look. In September 2023, an anonymous complaint was sent to the Judicial Council. It claimed Caldwell showed unusual interest in certain cases, asked to be assigned to specific ones, and made rulings that helped the same group of lawyers. The complaint was dismissed for lack of proof, but someone at the council said something that should have been a warning. Quote, the claims are serious enough that if even 10% are true, the system is compromised. Did anyone investigate more? No. Did anyone watch Caldwell more closely? No. The system protected itself, like it always does. Then came the Witness 14 case, the filing mistake that exposed a protected source. At the time, everyone called it a tragedy, a mistake, an accident in a complex system. Nobody asked why Judge Caldwell personally approved the filing. Nobody asked why his clerk, who supposedly made the error, was quickly moved to another court with a big raise. Every week, Caldwell pushed harder. Every ruling helped the same people. Every mistake hurt the same kind of witness. Clear patterns, and nobody with power wanted to see them until now. The list did not create this scandal. It proved what people had whispered for years. It took suspicions and turned them into facts nobody could deny. Judge Caldwell walked into court every day thinking he was safe, thinking the system he damaged would protect him forever. He did not know someone was keeping records. He did not know the list existed. And he did not know JD Vance was waiting for proof like this. Drop a like if you are seeing the full picture, the links between the mistakes, the patterns, the protection. Hit that button if this makes sense, because the best part is coming and I want to know who is paying attention. And then it happened. 10:04 a.m. Eastern. The moment 17 minutes in the making. Judge Caldwell was in his office getting ready for a 10:30 hearing. His clerk later said he was reading papers, drinking coffee, acting normal. He had no idea the list was already everywhere. His phone rang, not his cell, his private line that almost no one has. Judge Caldwell, this is the office of the vice president. Sources say he laughed, thought it was a joke, and said something like, I'm busy. Then they told him, sir, the list is public. The vice president is using emergency authority under national security rules. You are suspended effective immediately. Federal marshals are on the way to escort you out. The silence lasted 11 seconds. 11 seconds where a federal judge realized his career, his life was over. Then he hung up. Marshals arrived at 10:09 a.m. 5 of them. They walked past security, past staff, into his office. By 10:14 a.m., Judge Harold Caldwell was no longer on federal property. 17 minutes. That is all it took. 17 minutes and 40 years of unchecked power was gone. But here's what most people missed. At 10:06 a.m., 2 minutes after the call, Caldwell sent 11 text messages. We do not know who he texted. We do not know what he said. But someone at the DOJ made sure those texts were saved before his phone was taken. Whatever he wrote, whoever he warned, it is now evidence. And JD Vance mentioned it later. The messages sent after Judge Caldwell was informed of his suspension are now part of the investigation. We know who he contacted. We know what he said. We are following every lead. This was not panic. This was a trap. And Caldwell walked straight into it. Stay with me, because what comes next is why I made this video. The 11 texts, the people he tried to warn, the reason Vance wanted him to make that call. Comment below. Who do you think he texted? I want to see your ideas. Experts are calling this the biggest judicial scandal since the country began. One former federal prosecutor who worked with Caldwell for years explained it like this. What you are seeing is not one bad judge. The list shows a system, rules, a network protecting itself and removing threats. That takes years to build. What does that mean in simple terms? Caldwell was not alone. He was part of a network. Remove him, and the network still exists. And here's what law experts are quietly saying. What the vice president did today is either the most important anti-corruption action ever or the end of court independence as we know it. There is no middle ground. Either this was right, and we must see how deep the corruption goes, or we just watch the executive branch remove judges without Congress. Even some people defending Caldwell admit something hard. I have defended court independence my whole career. But if those recordings are real and a judge helped expose a protected witness, the system failed long before today. Maybe the system was the problem. The message is clear. Whether Vance was right or wrong, the list changes everything. If it is real, witnesses everywhere will wonder if the system can protect them, or if there are more Caldwells waiting to betray them. And if it is fake, if this was made to remove judges, then no judge is safe. Anyone who rules against the government is at risk. Either way, trust is broken. Either way, we are in unknown territory. Hit like if this helps you understand what is really at stake. Not just one judge, not one case, but the foundation of justice in this country. Like this video if you want more breakdowns like this. So what does this mean for you right now? Every case Judge Caldwell handled in the last 5 years is under review. Every ruling, every sentence, every decision. That is over 2,400 cases. Over 2,400 people who may appeal. Over 2,400 cases where the question is not, was this right, but was this corrupt? If you know someone judged by Caldwell or someone who testified before him, this affects you. Everything is now questioned. In the next 30 days, expect this: emergency hearings for his cases, reassignment of his work, and congressional hearings on the list and on Vance's power. If you follow politics, you are about to see a brutal fight. Both sides will use this. Both sides will claim they defend the Constitution. And the truth may be lost unless people keep digging. But the bigger issue keeps me awake. If Vance's action stands, it changes the balance between the government branches. Future leaders will know they can move against judges. That power did not exist yesterday. If it is overturned, the list may not matter legally. Caldwell could even return. The network could continue. Either result changes America. And here's what no one wants to face. The people already hurt. Witness 14 is dead. No court decision will change that. His family is watching all of this, hearing debates while the man involved waits at home. For them, this is not theory. This is either justice or another escape for the powerful. Which will it be? That is the hard truth. And then Caldwell made it worse. 2 hours after being removed, he released a statement through his lawyer. He could have stayed quiet. He could have waited. Instead, he attacked. This is a political hit by an administration that cannot handle independent courts. I have served 40 years. These claims are fake. The list is a forgery, and I will be cleared. Not one word about witness 14. Not one word about the family destroyed. Just denial. Just blame. The same response powerful people use when caught. Then it got dangerous. His supporters mobilized. Hashtags trended. Legal funds started. TV appearances were planned. Then came threats. Someone posted the home address of a DOJ official. Someone shared flight details of JD Vance's family. Photos of the marshals spread online. This is no longer just legal. It is turning ugly. The administration is not backing down. The DOJ announced they're expanding the investigation to everyone named or implied on the list and anyone who helped block justice. That is a warning. They're looking at charges from conspiracy to obstruction and in 2 cases helping in murder. Helping in murder for what happened to witness 14. Caldwell thought his statement would help him. Instead, it made things worse. This is not ending. It is growing. But here's the question. Why now? The list existed for months, maybe years. Why leak it today? Who benefits? Elections are 7 months away. Hearings are next week. Big cases are pending. Someone picked this moment. I do not believe in accidents. Sources say a second leak is coming. Bigger. The redacted name is not who you expect. Not a judge, not a lawyer. The DOJ has quietly increased security for 6 people. Caldwell's texts show he contacted 2 protected people, not warned them, contacted them. That means either a cover-up or leverage. Either way, more is coming. When it breaks, today will look like the start. Subscribe now, because when the next leak hits, I will cover it. This story is just beginning. Hit subscribe. Turn on notifications. When the hidden name comes out, you will want to know. Here is where things stand. Judge Caldwell is at home under restricted movement. He has not been arrested yet. Marshals are watching his property. His passport is flagged. JD Vance will hold a press conference tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. He will talk about his authority and the investigation. Congress wants briefings. Senate hearings are set. House members are drafting responses. But here's what is not official. 2 lawyers on the list have booked flights out of the country. 1 already left. The leaker is known and protected. They are helping investigators and have more information. The next 72 hours will decide if this becomes the biggest corruption case ever, or a political war. Time is running out. But here is what worries me. Caldwell sent 11 texts. 2 are known. What about the other 9? The hidden name is still hidden. Why protect them? There is a rumor that another judge may cooperate for immunity. If that happens, everything changes. That judge knows everything. Is Caldwell stalling while others escape? I do not know yet. But I know this. What comes next will be bigger than anyone expects. The question is, will you be watching? Subscribe, turn notifications on. When this breaks, I will be here. Something is about to shatter.